Hey, thank you for joining. Had a little technical difficulty right before going live. The second camera isn't working, so we're apparently just on this one today. Thank you for joining me. My name is Larry. I've been a licensed contractor for over 2 decades. We want to share helpful home improvement tips and advice. You're welcome to ask me any questions you have. Let me know what you have going on this week as far as repairs. Let me get something up on the screen real quick. All right. Okay, so we're going to jump right into some topics today. Let's start with, let me share my screen here. And if you do have any questions or any projects you are working on, please share that with me at any time. You don't have to wait for any specific opportunity. You can just insert a question in the chat anytime you want to. Thank you so much. Okay, we are going to start with this one. Got one back on. Okay, we got one back on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, we got the camera back on for now. Hopefully, it doesn't take a dump when we get the um when we get the screen share back on. Bear with me. Okay, that looks correct. Okay, so I wanted to start with this topic here. I thought it was an excellent topic for today. By the way, happy Sunday. If you're just joining us, my name is Larry. I have over 2 decades experience as a licensed contractor. We are here answering home improvement questions, how to fix it questions. If you have any questions whatsoever, let me know. You do not have to wait for a specific opportunity. You can just jump in the chat anytime you want. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's start with this topic: 12 genius solutions for retrofitting your home improvement projects. Okay, so this is one of the two I want to cover today. Okay, vintage wallpaper design. So wallpaper is an easy way to transform the home. These are ideas to do when you're on a budget. This topic here, ductless mini splits, they are all the rage lately. I don't know if you've noticed on YouTube, there are lots and lots of how to install mini splits, ductless systems. You can call them either one. They are excellent for concrete slab homes, lake properties, seasonal properties where you don't have access underneath in the basement or any other means to access. Um, for a new air duct. So this kind of system does not require ripping up your house and running all new air ducts. The coolant lines run on the exterior of the home, and then these blowers, the mini splits, or called the heads, they come off their own remote control, so you can heat or cool from a remote control. Very, very convenient. They are definitely all the rage. Self-leveling cement underlayment, that can be a do-it-yourself project depending on how big the space is. A lot of older homes will have settling issues, and if it's structurally repaired or sound, then you still need to level the floor later after the fact, and that's where you're going to come in with some type of self-leveling compound. Tankless water heaters. Now, in Europe, they are more common than they are here. In America, I've always heard that they were going to take over. They were going to be the future, where that was 24 years ago, I think, when I first heard that. And they haven't taken over anything yet. They are still relatively uh, narrow in adoption. I think one of the reasons is people get shocked when they see how expensive they are to have installed. So if you have a traditional tank system, your plumbing, your gas line, your electrical lines are already right in the right location, and you just swap it out when you're putting a new one in. Well, with a tankless system, or on demand. You can call them either one, tankless or on demand. It does require that you have a plumber, possibly electrician, come in, and it's a lot of moving pipes around and venting around, so it can get very expensive. You know, when somebody gets quoted for $5,000, $6,000 for an on-demand water heater, they sometimes balk at that and they say, "Okay, I changed my mind. That's too much." Reclaimed materials, that's certainly all the fashion. You know, when you look at Home Depot, Menards, Lowe's, they have a dedicated aisle now to this distressed wood, this shiplap wood. Um, but that's a new product made to look old, so it's a little bit of a cosmetic trick. But using old traditional barn wood lap siding, uh, that's an excellent way to recycle materials, and it's a beautiful look. It certainly will add value to your home. Smart plugs. I have one right here. This is a regular outlet plus USB. So you have USB-A and two USB-Cs, the compact. That's the future. The small USB-Cs, that is the future. The new iPhones now have that. Everything is going to that for sure. iPads and your other charging devices. So that's a smart outlet. Save you from ever needing adapters. Really excellent product, and that can be installed by a do-it-yourselfer for sure. Staircase retreads, risers, that's an easy way to add a classic look to your house. Although you definitely need some carpentry skills. I have a buddy that does finished carpentry, and that's his whole specialty. And what he does is absolutely amazing, what he can do with finished carpentry. Radiant flooring, that's been popular for a long, long time. Um, it's something that is typically done at the build. For instance, putting radiant heating coils over the concrete floor and then a finished floor above that. Although it can definitely be done at a complete renovation for sure. Expensive, but adding a lot of comfort to the home. It more heats the whole structure. Whereas if you have a traditional furnace with warm air, that's what furnace means. It's just heating the air, and it has other consequences where you could still feel kind of cold and clammy. It can dry the air out. It can blow dust around. Whereas if you have radiant floor heating, it's a much more comfortable type of heat for sure. Sound dampening acoustical tiles. So in this space here, I have several decorative acoustic tiles on the walls. It's a great way to add aesthetics. It looks nice, but they're also helping with such some of the echoing. So as the sound's bouncing around in the room, it helps with that. Makes it feel more comfortable as well. Storm windows, a dedicated storm window, at least in my part of the country, in the Midwest, they're somewhat going out of fashion because you know the new thermal pane windows. You just don't need storm windows. Everything's built right into the double pane window, including the screen. You just don't need an extra storm window. Decorative ceiling tiles, that definitely can be a home improvement project. Anybody can take on even without experience. It does add a lot of appeal. I mixed on that trend. I've been in homes while working, and I've seen both good and bad. If it fits the aesthetic of the home and it is an older home, it's a nice throwback, and it does really, really look nice for sure. Oh, the radiator space heating, temporary use only, not for permanent heating. Okay, let's go to this other topic here. This one really caught my eye and wanted to share it with you guys today. 20 renovation projects to upgrade your home on a small budget. I thought that was perfect. Let's cover that today. So 20 renovation projects, small budget. Okay, number one, repaint areas of your home. I always say that flooring and paint is the easiest way to add value to your home, and anybody can do it for the most part with little knowledge or education or research. So certainly repaint your home. It's a facelift. It's a complete facelift, and it's really easy to do for the most part. And you can take it room by room, so it doesn't have to be daunting or challenging. Update cabinetry for sure. Kitchens and bathrooms are the number one areas for adding value to your home and getting your resale money back out of that someday if you sell the home or refinance the home. So updating cabinets in your kitchen or bath, replacing bath hardware, number three. Number four, swap window treatments out. Easy upgrade. Anybody can do that. Upgraded lighting. That's been very fashionable lately. So again, we're doing 21 home improvement projects on a budget. Lighting can either be very expensive or very expensive. It just depends. The new LED light fixtures. So there are these integrated light panels now. Changing light bulbs is going away. You won't even be able to get those fixtures any longer. If you look at the lighting aisles of the big home improvement stores, lighting fixtures now with light bulbs are definitely going away, and you will only have these LED light fixtures. Now, they still look great. The light they provide is pretty good, and the energy usage is very minimal. So you're saving on energy. They do last a long time, but the deficiency is if they break, if part of that panel breaks or the whole panel breaks, you have to replace the whole light fixture. So no longer can you just swap out one bulb. You have to replace the whole light fixture. Install built-in bookshelves. Any kind of custom trim carpentry work like that will add value to your home. Create custom storage areas. Same 6 and 7 go together. Add any kind of crown molding and update the trim. If it's done well, it will add to the value of the home if it looks like it's meant to be there. You want it to look with the aesthetics of the home. On trim, one of the biggest things I see where a do-it-yourselfer may mess that up is if they install it themselves and it's poorly done and you have a lot of gaps, say between the baseboard trim and the wall or around the doors and windows. Gaps are the number one indicator where somebody walks into that room and they say, who the heck installed this? It looks terrible. So as long as it's installed tight enough and you've done what you can to scribe to the walls or the doors, you do have to come back with caulk and seal all those gaps. When you walk into a room on the trims, you don't want to see any gaps whatsoever. Just simply caulk that completely, repaint, and it will look great. It's amazing what caulk and paint will do to trim to really spruce it up. Now, if you're doing all wood trim, not paint quality, so solid wood, that's a whole nother level. So like a solid oak trim, something like that, where the beauty of the wood grain has to shine through. Now it's a whole nother level. Now it's probably not being installed by a do-it-yourselfer. You're going to need somebody with some kind of skilled trades there, a carpenter, to install that, because you got to cut it perfectly for the miter joint to work and fit. Otherwise, it won't look correct. So if you are new to the home improvement projects, use paint quality trim probably, because then you can just caulk your mistakes and it still looks good. Just swapping out flooring, again, that's easy. Improving landscaping, not as easy as it sounds. Working outside of the house is a large area. So I would say do a little bit every season. Set yourself some goals for every spring to come back and add more to your landscaping. Renew old flooring with paint. I've seen that both successfully and non-successfully done. Sometimes it's not done so well. Make shade up and privacy, add privacy with interior shutters. Yes, especially in southern climates, you want something on that south side to shield you from the sun and lower your energy bills somewhat. Give kitchen cabinets a flawless new look. Get more flowers without spending a dime. Okay. We're going to skip some of these, as you can see. Fresh bead of bathroom caulk. So when you walk in a bathroom, in addition to sometimes doing contractor work, I've also done home inspections, lots of home inspections. And I've been in thousands of bathrooms in my career. Bathrooms are probably one of the areas you can tell how the home is being maintained immediately. You walk into a bathroom, are there faucets dripping? Is the caulk peeling from the tub and the walls around? Is there mold growing on the ceiling? You'll notice deferred maintenance immediately in a bathroom. Let's skip a couple of these and move ahead to some of our defect pictures. Okay, let's pop into, um, let me move this around. Bear with me. Okay, we're going to close that one out. And share the screen on this other one. Okay, that's the one I want. Okay, so let's start looking at some of these defect pictures. I've seen some of these in real life and some of these to one extent or another. I've seen some of these in real life. So let's pop through these. These are definitely educational for sure. Let me know if you have any questions whatsoever. Okay, foundation cracks. Foundation cracks is a broad subject. For one, I like to know whether I'm talking about a poured concrete foundation or a concrete block foundation or a field stone foundation. Those are probably your three biggest in North America. They mean different things to different type of foundations. Now that's a poured concrete crack there. Poured concrete is your strongest. Um, and usually it does fine. It can leak if the crack is in the wrong location. If you have stress cracks, like I see there in the picture, that does look severe. They're measuring the deflection on those cracks. And also, you're going to want to monitor if they're growing over time, which that one probably is. So that one looks more severe. Although a hairline crack on a poured concrete foundation, if it's not moving, no displacement between those two sides, when you run your finger across that crack, is the plane still flat? Not one side is up, down, in, out. If it's still flat, it's likely still structurally sound and doing fine. On a concrete block wall, you want to look for step cracking. That's a concern. You want to look for horizontal cracks on a block wall. That's a big concern, especially if the wall's bowing in and it has a little bit of a hump shape to it. Fieldstone foundations are the oldest this country has. Those are often major problem. They leak like crazy. The mortar becomes brittle, it turns to like sand and falls out. The stones fall out. We've seen virtual collapses with stone foundations. All right, let's pick to the next picture. Okay, this is seen it hundreds of times, maybe 1,000 times, but at least hundreds of times. This is a bathroom fan in an attic above the bathroom, and it's blowing air into the bathroom, which is, of course, not good because you're going to have excessive moisture going into that bathroom, and then that touches the roof surface, which condensates on the different temperature, and you're going to have mold growing in that bathroom. So you do, of course, always want to vent your bathrooms all the way to the exterior. I am impressed on this picture. They did do okay on the electrical. A lot of times when we see this and it was a do-it-yourself project, we also see the electrical messed up with the open wire splice. So now you have a fire hazard and a moisture mold hazard in the same attic. Okay, this is a structural picture under somebody's house. If you're buying a house and you're looking underneath, you want to peek at the structure. If you can crawl into the crawl space, so much the better. But even if you're just looking from an edge because it's maybe too small or just too nasty to get in there, take a good flashlight and look around. If you're seeing things like this, can you see that? So that is a makeshift attempt to hold that beam up. They're just stacking whatever they can find in there: wood, bricks, stone, anything they can find. That's not structurally sound. It's not going to hold the house adequately over the years. So be wary of something like that if you see it. Now this is over to inside an electrical outlet. We have a couple wires going into the neutral bus bar, and of course oxidation is occurring. Um, and melting. You can see the plastic sheathing there melting, so they're actually arcing together of some type. So watch out for that. It is a good idea to occasionally inspect the areas in your house that nobody's ever looking. So I would say that's your electrical panel, your attic, your crawl space if you have one under the house. Any area that's hard to get to in the house, occasionally do it yourself or pay somebody to do it, to look into those areas. This panel box, I mean, look at the dust in that thing. It probably hasn't been opened in decades. So who knows what's going on in there? Have your house inspected periodically. You can do it yourself or just hire a contractor, handyman service, or home inspector. Okay, this is also an electrical panel. And if you look at the connections, um, they have 2 or more wires going per lug screw. This is the copper and the neutrals, which they are allowed to be bonded in the main panel. In the sub panel, they have to be split and separated. Keep that in mind. But in this main panel, they are allowed to be bonded, but no longer can you share the same screw like that. They do now, by code, have to each have their own lug nut screw. So these would all have to be split and separated out today, if built today. Of course, you're grandfathered into when this particular house was built and that panel was manufactured. I included this picture here, leaky faucet that happens to be a kitchen. Everybody has that one from time to time. The faucet repairs are a lot easier than they used to be. Now it just involves turning off the water. There's going to be a little set screw inside that faucet handle there. And when you pull that out, you're going to unscrew that rounded cap underneath the faucet lever, and there's going to be a cartridge in there. You can take that cartridge to the home improvement store, buy the same rated one, and replace it, and you are good to go. Repair done. With that being said, people sometimes are intimidated or they have to buy special tools to do that. Maybe they weren't prepared for that repair. So sometimes you want to take your time into consideration, and it's just as cheap because of your time to just buy a new faucet and just be done with it. But yes, faucets are definitely easier to repair than they used to be. This electrical picture here I included because of the blue tape. Here, blue tape, that may even be shrinkage tape. If you've never seen heat shrink tape, so they wrap, it's a rubber coated tape where they wrap around wires, and they actually take a hot item like basically a hair dryer, anything that generates heat or a flame, and it's going to shrink right around a connection. Well, that's more for like your hobbyist connections, automobile connections, boating, watertight connections, not for residential wiring. Residential wiring, you always want to have electrical, UL rated electrical caps at every single connection. Okay, this is a bathroom renovation project, and you can see a lot of water damage underneath. I want to encourage you, if you are demoing, ripping up a kitchen or a bathroom because you're getting ready to do a remodel, you're going to find water damage for sure. It happens. It's normal. Just come to expect it. Don't let it ruin your day. If you're ripping up a bathroom to redo it, you're going to find water damage. So here, that's a toilet connection. You can tell because of the 3 or 4 inch drain pipe there, and then the water feed on the left. Expect it for bathroom remodel. So this one, before you rebuild, you would have to cut out the subfloor to the next joist over, put a new piece of plywood down. Also, plastic pipe CPVC, that could be a do-it-yourself project. I'm not a huge fan of CPVC. That's that yellow plastic pipe. It is just too brittle. Seems like it has frost damage more than any other pipe I've ever seen. So really, you should stick to copper or PEX. PEX is excellent. I know some people will challenge me on that point, but PEX plumbing is really excellent. Okay, this one I included just for laughs. I actually have seen this before. So say you have a large single family home and somebody's kind of renovating it, turning it into, say, a duplex or multifamily, so more than 2 units. They're sectioning off parts of the house. Well, that stairs is now impassable. By building code, you have to have a minimum of 36 inches. So what if there's a fire, or how are you going to get furniture up there? Many problems, right, with that. So I just included that for fun, not making fun of the homeowner, but we have seen that before. If you're going through a home and you start to see anything remotely like that, you want to be concerned. Another structural picture for educational purposes. This one's a little blurry, sorry, but again, underneath the house, when you are buying a house, whether primary residence or you want to flip it, however you want to, or rent it. That was the other one, sorry. Live in it, flip it, or rent it. You want to look under the structure if it's not a concrete slab, and even then you want to try. So crawl spaces, basements, look under that structure. Even in addition to the home inspector, if you have one or a contractor, you want to just try to see if you can get in there. You see something like this, cinder blocks used inappropriately, that's the wrong orientation, wood shims, trash, who knows what's going on. There's serious structural problems under that house. I'm not saying to run, because if you buy it cheap enough, maybe it's still worth it to you, but you do want to be mindful of that, of what you're buying, so you know ahead of time. This one we actually see a lot from the ground. Sometimes you can't see it. A lot of times you have to be up on a roof. If you're in your bathroom, that's where it's most commonly noticed, and you look up at the ceiling, right where the wall connects to the ceiling, there's sometimes is a yellow stain that develops, a tiny little moisture stain. It's the plumbing vent. Pretty much by all bathrooms, you're gonna have a plumbing vent going up through the roof line and out the roof. It's required for drain systems, DWV. Drain waste vent. That's in case a plumber ever says that to you. Drain waste vent, DWV. It all works together. Well, this is the flashing boot on the roof, and that tear right there is the beginning of a roof leak. Now, the good news is it's very easy to fix. A homeowner will slather roofing tar around that. It's not the right fix. You actually do want to slip that up out of the way and put a new flashing boot down onto the pipe, typically the 3 inches. I think that's the code, 3 inches through the roof. Okay, structural cracks. So that is brick exterior siding. Structural cracks going through. Likely, you're going to find foundation cracks in that house if you see something like that. So be mindful. If your spidey senses go up, you see something that's not right, you want to start digging in more, asking more questions. Skylights. In my part of the country, they seem to always be a problem in the Midwest. Now, I don't know if that's true for everywhere in the country, but in my part of the country, they don't perform that well. I always tell people to treat it like a roof. If you're replacing the roof, say it's a 25-year-old roof and you're replace those skylights at the same time. Treat it like a roof. Don't keep the old skylights and pay just for the shingles. Here you have water damage under a skylight, which it's so common. I almost just expect it when I see skylights, to be honest. This is a structural, again, under somebody's house. A layperson might just walk by that and not think anything of it. But that cast iron drain pipe going through the beam is not allowed. So a solid timber beam is a structural element. It's pretty much not allowed to be modified, cut, drilled, pretty much in any way. You really should have a structural engineer or a general contractor if you're going to do something with the main beam. But that's wrong. They took 50% of the strength out of that beam for sure. Water heater. This is a code required item, TP valve, temperature pressure release valve. The extension pipe 3/4 inch has to go down to the floor, usually between 4 and 6 inches. The 3/4 inch pipe is not allowed to be reduced in any way, so never put a cap on that. That's unsafe. The water heater actually could explode. If it's dripping, you can replace the valve, but don't reduce that pipe 3/4 inch threaded all the way down. And then here, of course, it's been leaking for some time, and now we're starting to get damage to the water heater itself. So it's probably time to put a new water heater in. This one is beyond just the valve. This one, again, not making fun of the homeowner. I actually know somebody who did this. So resurfacing their floor, doing a good job. At least from what I see here, it looks beautiful, but they literally painted themselves into a corner. How is she going to escape, and how is she going to finish that little area, that little knee pad area that she's in? So think about that ahead of time when you're working on flooring. Where you're going to work your way to, how you're going to get out of the room, depending on the flooring. A lot of the finished flooring projects now are vinyl planks, which are super easy to install. You just snap click them together and you can walk over it. But yeah, refinishing hardwood floors, you have to think about what's your exit strategy, and also tile work too, until the tile is dry or the grout is dry. Oh, I think that's the last one in this camera roll. All right, that is it. We do want to grow the stream over time. I apologize for the technical difficulties I had at the beginning. One of the cameras is apparently dead, so I'm on the second camera right now. My name is Larry. I have over 2 decades experience as a licensed contractor. We want to answer all your home improvement questions. If you missed the live stream, go ahead and ask any questions down below on the replay, and we will see you next week, Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hey, I bet you can do it yourself. Okay, let's build something awesome. Let's get to work.